Research projects are a great way to engage your students, teach them culture, history, geography, and about important people around the world. These projects allow for creativity, critical thinking, even collaboration if you want. Unfortunately, they can also be a total headache to organize. So what I wanted to do today is to share with you some tips for organizing and then planning a successful research project for Black History Month in your Spanish classes. Hey, it's Ashley, aka Senorita Spanish, where I provide easy-to-use resources to save you time and energy while you're lesson planning. If you're new here, I just wanted to make sure that you know that links to everything that I mentioned will be down in the description box below. Let's chat about how to set up a successful Black History Month project for your Spanish classes. We'll talk about setting expectations, offering choices, how to support them along the way, research resources you can use, and how to celebrate their success at the end of their projects. Let's get right into it. So the first tip I have for you is to have clear expectations. Don't just give them somebody that they're going to research and let them go, because whatever they come up with is not going to be what you were hoping for. Discuss proficiency levels, show them examples of past projects or an example that you've created on your own. Talk about Google Translate and how it can or cannot be used in your classes depending on your expectations. All of those sorts of things. And if you need more tips on how to handle Google Translate in your classes, make sure you check out my video here that I will link for you below as well on using and avoiding translators in your classes. My second tip for you is to allow student choice. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do this, but when we're talking about research projects, especially for groups of famous people, like for Black History Month, I like to allow students the choice of who they're going to research and who they're going to present on. Third, and I mentioned this at the beginning, is to make sure you check in with your students along the way. So for example, if you're giving them a list of people to choose from, they choose a person, or maybe they get to pick somebody who's not on the list, you're going to approve or deny that choice depending on your classroom setting and the person that they've chosen and your school expectations, all, those sorts of things. After they've chosen their person, you're not going to just give them 3 days to do research, right? While they're researching, you're going to be supporting them with what websites are reliable, how can they evaluate the information that they found, are they researching in Spanish or are they researching in English, or does it not matter to you, and then what is their final project in and what is the language that they're talking about going to look like. Check in with them along all of those steps so you can make sure that they're on the right track. My fourth tip for you is to bring in a specialist, and I have always leaned on my media specialist, that's a librarian usually, but there's also other teachers in the building who are experts at research projects. Your school's ELA teacher, your social studies teacher. Maybe there's even an admin who was an ELA or social studies teacher in their former life before they went into admin, who would love to come in and help you with those research days. They are great people to lean on during research projects in your classes. The other reason why I like to check in with my school's media specialist is because sometimes they have access to things that your district has paid for that you have no idea that you have access to, right? Sometimes the district is paying for stuff that you can use as a resource for your students, and for some reason lines get crossed, things don't get communicated, whatever. Your media specialist will know about those websites. Otherwise, I also wanted to provide a list of resources that you could use to research for your classes. And like I said, right, maybe your expectations are changing depending on which level you're using this with, if you're using it with upper levels or lower levels, but here are some great places to get started. Okay, the last tip that I have for you is to celebrate their work. Once they're done with all of the hard work that goes into doing the research project and creating that final project and making sure it looks nice and the language is on par with what they were hoping for, you want to celebrate all their work. Showing off their work can be as simple or as complex as you like. I personally prefer to go with a more simple option, but that's just me. So 2 options to do this simply would be to pair up your students in kind of a rotating presentation pattern. Think like speed date translate or speed conversations, but instead they are presenting their projects to each other one-on-one. It just takes less time, right? It doesn't use up 4 or 5 days of class periods where one student stands in front of the classroom and tells them about their project, but they still get to see everybody's project by doing a rotation and then kind of a flip and scramble. Another option would be to just take their finished projects and turn them into a bulletin board or a display. And you can hang that up in your classroom, or you can hang it up outside of your classroom, maybe in a cafeteria, maybe near the library, somewhere where the rest of the school can see what you've been up to as well. I mentioned at the beginning of this video that links to everything that I mentioned in this will be down in the description box below. If you want to save yourself time and energy while you're working on this project with your students, I do have a printable template for you and a digital template for you. Just, whatever floats your boat. It's available in Spanish and English, and that huge list of people that I showed you earlier is included in the download, so you can give your students that choice that I mentioned earlier too. If you're looking for more ways to celebrate Black History Month in your Spanish classes, make sure you check out my playlist here for a whole bunch of ideas you can use all month long and, of course, throughout the rest of the year. All right? I'll see you in the next one. Bye.